Well, hello. I hope everyone is doing well today. My name is Brandi Michelle, and I'm a happiness coach. Everybody knows the quote unquote fundamentals of how to be happy. You meditate, practice gratitude, and prioritize relationships that mean the most to you. But a lot of us are still unhappy. I teach people how to apply the core fundamentals in a way that actually works for them. Additionally, I have a gift of helping people bring their awareness to that which is unknown and interfering with them being truly happy. This allows people who have checked all the boxes of success and achievement to finally cultivate true happiness. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about daily habits that we can implement to help improve our happiness. So today I wanted to share 7 habits with each of you that will be really easy for you to implement in your daily journal. A few of them I talked about earlier this week, and I'll go into them again, and a few of them will be new. So, first and foremost, when you're thinking about habits that can really help you on your journey, one that is of critical importance is having a morning routine. So, the mind really doesn't love chaos, right? The mind wants to know that life is dependable, that they can count on things happening kind of in this very consistent way. And so having a morning routine allows us to kind of start our day in a way that sets us off on the right foot. So your daily routine definitely needs to be your own, right? Like there's this really beautiful opportunity to think about, what brings you the most joy in the morning. So for me, I do a handful of things, but it includes kind of like hot water with lemon. It includes meditation. A handful of days every week, it includes kind of a workout with my trainer. Um, Reading, so these are all things that are part of my daily routine and have actually been quite beneficial for me. So I urge you that if you're looking for ways to increase happiness, to really think about kind of what makes the most sense around having this level of consistency in our lives in a morning routine. It also really teaches you to trust yourself, right? So it teaches you that you're dependable every day. This is what can be expected. So, would love to hear from any of you kind of what things are in your morning routine, which may be unique, may not be something that you've consistently heard other people having in their morning routines, but really impact you in this positive way. So, would love to hear from you. Definitely put it in the comments if you're listening to this now or later, and we'll take a listen. The next way that we can really impact our level of happiness is by having kind of 7 to 30 minutes of exercise or movement every day in our lives, right? So when you think about exercise, we probably don't necessarily think about happiness, but really exercise improves our cognition. It decreases anxiety, it decreases depression, it increases our mood. So it has these really profound impacts on our body and our mind, right? So I know, for instance, when I'm working out with my trainer and we transition to a new program, in terms of what the exercise combinations will be, I really do have kind of these moments where kind of my nervous system is settling in, my cognition is like really like working to make sure that it understands what I'm supposed to do, like, right? Because the weights are different, the timing is different, the sequence is different. And this really impacts our body's ability to function. And that body mind, right? That connection between our mind and body is much stronger than we oftentimes give it credit for. So if we're every day getting in some movement that's different from just kind of sitting, standing, and walking, that's going to really pay dividends. I think there's a quote that basically says, like, the best kept secret around mental health is this idea that exercise is much less expensive than therapy, and so really kind of getting your body out there and getting moving helps from head to toe. And then I'm gonna share an obvious one in terms of, like, we hear this all the time, but I think we underestimate the importance of being really well hydrated, right? Like, I would tell anyone that before you start on like a protocol to change your life in any way, shape, or form, or any aspect of your life, to really think about, like, am I well hydrated, right? The majority of the body is made up of water. And if we aren't replenishing it at a rapid rate, then we're going to have pain, we're going to have mental stress, we're going to have increased inflammation, and all of these things really don't serve us that well. And so you want high quality water. So we want to filter our water, and you want to ensure that kind of with your water intake, you're really have a high level of electrolytes. So quality water and electrolytes every single day. You want to take your weight and multiply it by 2/3 to really understand how much water you need to be taking in. But water serves so many basic functions, including, regulating your body temperature, keeping your joints lubricated, reducing illness, delivering nutrients, making sure our organs are functioning, flushing out all that we don't need, and decreasing pain, right? So all of these things are going to serve to impact our mood, right? So if you're in pain, if your organs aren't functioning well, if you have inflammation, that impacts your cognition, it impacts your mood, it impacts your ability to sleep well. And so it's like of critical importance that, like, at any point in your life, if you're thinking something's off kilter, step one is just to ask yourself, am I well hydrated? Because the body really cannot function in a way that's of service if it's chronically dehydrated. And so we oftentimes mistake thirst for hunger. And so the first thing we should do upon kind of starting our day is really gauging, like, how quickly can I get 24 to 32 ounces of water into my body? How can I kind of start my body off on the right path? Because regardless of how long you sleep, you've probably had somewhere between 5 and 12 hours where you haven't had any water in your system. So let's wake up, start our day on the right foot, with hydration. And as I mentioned, I love to start my day kind of with hot water and lemon, and this really kind of impacts positively my organs and gets my body moving in the right direction. The next thing that many people don't do, but makes, like, a lot of logical sense, is grounding, right? And so it's really kind of this connection with the earth, the connection with Mother Nature, being outside in grass, being outside in sand, in dirt, in the ocean. All of these things are very healing to the body. There's so many benefits to grounding. And when you think back kind of to the earliest years of mankind, right? There were no shoes. We spent a lot of time kind of in this exchange between the earth and humans, and there's so much healing that can come from the earth. Excuse me. And so when we think about grounding, we know for sure that it helps move our nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic. It helps us in terms of kind of healing, being in homeostasis. Again, it reduces pain, reduces stress. And so you want to get, up to 30 minutes a day where you're really grounding. There's also grounding pads and things that you can use in your home. So, for example, while I'm sitting at my desk, I can have my feet on a grounding pad. And as long as my home is grounded, I can be grounding kind of as I'm going about my daily activities. So, grounding again is going to just provide these really beautiful benefits in terms of helping our mind to work more easily and helping our body to be in an optimal state. And so, again, just reminding us that kind of this body mind connection, that when our body is at peace, our mind is more able to be at peace and vice versa. And there's so much data about our body kind of holding emotions and holding experiences, and all of these things that we're talking about today will either kind of clear our mind or clear our bodies that allow us to more easily align with happiness. Okay, so I love each of those things, and then I will quickly give a refresher on the 3 things that I shared, in our last live around, um, 3 things that I always recommend people do no matter what to improve, um, their level of happiness and to ultimately, more align with ease and flow in their life. And so, um, the first one is really having just this beautiful gratitude practice, right? And so anytime ever anything comes into your life that you are happy to receive, like really just taking this moment to feel the emotion, evoke this emotion of joy, and clearly to articulate kind of the gratitude around whatever you're in receipt of. So it can be as little as hearing from a loved one. It can be a synchronicity that's showing up. Like yesterday, I was reaching out to a friend and I sent her a text, and she said, I literally just picked up the phone to reach out to you. And so, this idea of kind of us all being connected and this ability to more easily connect with your loved ones, like I paused and I said, thank you so much. And then today I had a hair appointment. I thought my hair came out nicely. And so, like, both kind of pausing to say thank you to the universe and to express my gratitude, but also kind of sharing that um, during the appointment. So, always want to, no matter how big or small things are, when things kind of go in the direction that you prefer, making sure that you say thank you. And I think about gratitude um, with the universe in the same way that I think about it in receiving gifts. So when you receive gifts from people, oftentimes um, we know that it's appropriate to say thank you. And if you're the gift giver and you don't receive a thank you, you might sit a little bit perplexed, like, oh, I sent Brandi a gift and I didn't hear back from her. And so I offer to each of you to think of gift giving in that same manner, right? So, or excuse me, gratitude in that same manner. So when you receive something from the universe or something is in alignment with that which you're seeking, you want to express gratitude and appreciation as a means of really making it clear that you'd love more of that in your life. Okay. Um, the next thing that I wanted to share is really this idea of meditation, right? And so, kind of, when humans first came to the planet, we really functioned kind of mostly in this reptilian brain, right? Like, so our reptilian brain is responsible for fight or flight. It helps keeps us safe. It ensures that we have kind of our basic needs met, right? And this, our frontal brain, our high brain, so to speak, is the kind of this area in our brain that actually allows us to um, kind of move and elevate our consciousness, right? And so you want to, as often as possible, be able to kind of surpass that lower brain, unless you're actually like in a state of being chased by a lion, right? So you want to surpass that lower brain and get to your high brain, right? Like, so away from worry, away from fear, away from kind of these emotions that prevent you from more easily accessing the life that you're seeking. And so meditation really does that, right? Because there's so much evidence that it connects kind of our high and our low brain. And so we want to practice being able to control our brain waves, right? So when we're awake, we're kind of in this beta state, and that allows me to be on the live with all of you and to get all my work done during the day, hang out with my family, et cetera, et cetera. And then when we're sleeping, we're in delta, and there's these other brainwaves that are available to us that we usually just like pass through. But the more that we can really regulate our brains and get into that space where we're in alpha and we're in theta, then we're like really transmitting at this really beautiful level, and that is going to allow us to connect kind of that low brain with our high brain, and to ultimately really send signals out to the universe and to access the true power of our brain, which of course results in happiness. And then last but not least is journaling. I think of journaling as a way of really connecting um, with ourselves. We're oftentimes so disconnected from who we are and what we want and what fulfillment will look like and what is our purpose in this lifetime. And we ruminate about it very often, but kind of that those circling thoughts usually don't allow us to land at an answer. And so I do believe through kind of meditation and journaling, you can really reconnect with yourself and get these beautiful answers. And so anything that you have a question about, I would invite you to like really sit in this quiet space. And if you've been trying to find an answer, I would offer to you, don't sit in this place if I don't know, and don't sit in this place if it's confusing, and don't sit in this place if there's so many options. Just actually like take out a piece of paper, write the question at the top, whatever you're seeking, write it at the top, and then just pause and be really still, and just start to write. And I promise the answer will come, right? So I think that those 7 things, I'll just recap them really quickly. Like having a beautiful morning routine, ensuring that we get 7 to 30 minutes of exercise every day, grounding in the grass or in the sand or at the beach or even just in the dirt. Just really grounding for 30 minutes daily, ensuring that we're well hydrated with electrolytes, and then gratitude practice, daily meditation, and journaling. These things are going to increase your happiness. And remember that consistency drives results in all of the things. So, be deliberate in moving towards your happiness. And I'm going to leave you all today with this idea that all the answers are in you, and it's always an inside job. And so let's just make sure that we're really focused on that. All right. I'm seeing that a couple questions came through, and I wasn't looking at them closely. So I want to answer those before I sign off. Um, so Charlotte wants to know, as someone who works a graveyard shift, do we have any advice on when I should exercise? Is it before my day starts? Beautiful question, Charlotte. I think that, again, as I just said, all the answers are in you. And so I would offer to you to really sit in this space and say, like, when am I more likely to exercise? Is it more likely that I can have a consistent exercise practice by going to exercise just before I leave for work, because it's going to give me like lots of beautiful energy and help me make it through the graveyard shift? Or does it make more sense for me or will I have the energy kind of following my shift to move to this place of exercise? And Charlotte, I would really say it's whichever one you feel most compelled to do consistently. So maybe try them both, um, and then go with which one feels right, you know? And yes, water is life. And then what should someone do if they're struggling to maintain these habits? I usually find that when people are struggling to maintain the habits, the reason why they stop is not actually because they're struggling. I think they stop because they are being really hard on themselves, and they believe that they should get to this place of perfection, and life isn't perfect, right? So you have this goal of doing these 7 things every day, and you have to have a lot of grace with yourself. If by chance you don't get them all done, it's okay. There's always tomorrow, right? And thinking about it or focusing on it means that you're living in the past. And we always want to live in the present and prepave our future, because that's what allows us to um, live the life of our dreams. The life of your dreams is always ahead of you, it's never behind you, right? And so, really being in this present moment and just knowing that at any given time, you can start again. So if you didn't do it yesterday, you can do it today. If and so like today, if you had kind of a moment that didn't work out for you, instead of like ruminating about that moment and thinking about that moment, just move forward, right? So we want to learn as we go, but we never want to spend so much time reflecting that we actually find ourselves kind of really living in the past. Um, Charlotte says that she tried journaling, but she feels like she's running out of thoughts. And I find that interesting. I would say I'd love for you to connect with me at www.brandymichelle.com, and I can send you some journaling ideas. Like, what are some questions that you ask yourself? But I think that the way that I describe journaling today, hopefully, is a little bit different. I want you to journal about the things that you find yourself kind of like ruminating over, right? So if there are thoughts in your head that are persistent, get them out of your head and onto paper, right? And that is actually going to help you to move forward from that moment, right? And so it's not just like journaling as though you're writing a book. And I think when I was younger, that's how I thought about journaling. It's actually like moving thoughts out of your head onto paper. The average human has 70,000 thoughts a day. So, Charlotte, I know that you have lots of thoughts. And so it's really just like writing stream of consciousness. And so if you are writing and you find yourself in this place like, I have nothing else to write, start writing about what you're thinking about, because you're not just like pausing and thinking about it, nothing. Your brain is actually like distracted, and you've probably started to think about something else. And so instead, write about that. Or if you find yourself meditating and you can't stay focused, then again, like instead of like trying to force yourself to meditate, take out your journal if you have one, or pen and paper, however you choose to journal, and then instead write about that. And so the more that we can get our thoughts out, the more that we can meditate, the more we're going to quiet our minds and make it so we don't have 70,000 thoughts a day. It would be fine to have so many thoughts, probably, if they were more positive, but 85% of those thoughts are going to be repetitive, and the majority of them are going to be negative. So I hope that helps, but also you can always ping me if you need more ideas for journal prompts. I am here to help. Okay. I really appreciate the questions. If you're listening to this later and anything comes up and you want me to answer it, please, again, drop it in the comments and I'll make sure that I answer them. I appreciate these beautiful questions. I'm learning, so I'll make sure that I'm kind of checking in with the chat along the way for next time. And again, I will leave you all with this idea that, change and happiness is an inside job, and all of the answers are within you. I will look forward to doing more lives next week, and I hope to meet you all there. Thanks, and have a wonderful rest of your day.